Hello and welcome to Treadmill Trivia. I'm your host, Coach Ivy, and I'm here to challenge your mind and your endurance. Tonight, we're dedicated to one category, 50s rock and roll. We're diving headfirst into the drama, the debuts, and the shocking secrets of that iconic decade. Round one starts now. Which 1956 Elvis Presley single, released just after he signed with RCA Records, was his first to sell over 1 million copies? Was it A, Heartbreak Hotel, B, Hound Dog, C, Jailhouse Rock, or D, Love Me Tender? The answer is A, Heartbreak Hotel. Fun facts. The song was inspired by a newspaper story about a man who committed suicide. The man jumped out of a hotel window and left a note that read, "I walk a lonely street." The haunting sound effect on the record was created by Mickey Baker. The track's moody atmosphere helped establish the blueprint for rock ballads. Elvis recorded the track at his very first session with RCA Records in Nashville in January 1956. RCA bought his entire Sun Records contract for $40,000, a huge sum at the time, and Heartbreak Hotel launched his international career. Round two. Which rock icon is credited with writing and recording the 1958 hit Johnny Be Good, a song about a young country boy who played his guitar just like a ring in a bell? Was it A, Jerry Lee Lewis, B, Chuck Berry, C, Fats Domino, or D, Little Richard? The answer is B, Chuck Berry. Fun facts. Johnny Be Good is the only rock and roll song included on the Voyager Golden Record, which was launched into space in 1977, containing sounds and images selected to portray the diversity of life and culture on Earth to any intelligent extraterrestrial life. Berry's famous duck walk stage move was created accidentally to avoid wrinkling his suit. The song is considered one of the greatest rock and roll tracks of all time. Rolling Stone magazine ranked Johnny Be Good at number 7 on its list of the 500 greatest songs of all time. Round 3. Jerry Lee Lewis's Whole Lotta Shakin' Goin' On hit its peak after exposure on what TV program? Was it A, The Ed Sullivan Show, B, American Bandstand, C, The Perry Como Show, or D, The Steve Allen Show? The answer is D, The Steve Allen Show. Fun facts. Steve Allen's producers originally intended Lewis to perform a much calmer ballad. Lewis, however, insisted on performing Whole Lotta Shakin' Goin' On, which his manager believed was the perfect song to showcase his unique and wild stage antics. The song's provocative performance caused a massive public outcry. The controversy, fueled by his chaotic piano style, actually helped propel the single onto the pop charts where it hit number 3. Lewis was famous for his dynamic stage presence, often ending songs by kicking over his piano stool. Round 4. Little Richard's 1957 album Here's Little Richard, which featured the landmark hits Tutti Frutti and Long Tall Sally, was released on what influential independent record label? Was it A, Chess Records, B, Specialty Records, C, Atlantic Records, or D, VJ Records? The answer is B, Specialty Records. Fun facts. The label was highly influential, signing artists like Lloyd Price and Sam Cooke, and it was crucial in bridging the gap between gospel, rhythm and blues, and rock and roll. The famous opening phrase of Tutti Frutti had to be rewritten for commercial radio play. This was necessary because the original spontaneous lyrics Little Richard sang during the session were deemed too sexually explicit for commercial radio play in the 1950s. He then took a 3-year hiatus from from secular music, following a vision of the apocalypse to become a preacher. Round 5. Which 1957 Buddy Holly and the Crickets hit, a song later covered by the Beatles and the Doors, was initially rejected by his label Brunswick as being too country? Was it A, Oh Boy, B, Peggy Sue, C, That'll Be the Day, or D, Maybe Baby? The answer is C, That'll Be the Day. Fun facts. Holly got the title for the song from a line repeated by a character in the John Wayne movie, The Searchers. He was one of the very first major rock artists to regularly use the Stratocaster, cementing its status as the quintessential rock guitar and making the instrument highly visible to aspiring musicians. John Lennon and Paul McCartney idolized Holly, and they chose a similar insect-themed name, initially calling themselves the Quarrymen and then the Silver Beetles, before settling on the Beatles. Round 6. Which geographical region is generally credited as the origin of the energetic rockabilly music genre in the mid-1950s? Was it A, New Orleans, B, the Deep South, C, the Pacific Northwest, or D, the Northeast Corridor? The answer is B, the Deep South. Fun facts. Rockabilly flourished in recording studios in cities like Memphis, Tennessee. Specifically, the Sun Studio in Memphis, run by Sam Phillips, became the center of the movement, recording rockabilly pioneers like Elvis Presley and Carl Perkins. This combination of African-American blues with white country styles was a major element of rock and roll's emergence, often referred to as a hybrid musical form. The term rockabilly was first used to describe Elvis Presley's music. Round 7. Which doo-wop group had a 1957 hit with the song Yakety Yak, an ode to teenage chores? Was it A, the Drifters, B, the Platters, C, the Coasters, or D, Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers? The answer is C, the Coasters. Fun facts. The Coasters were famous for their songs being written by the legendary duo Lieber and Stoller. The low vocal register of their bass singer Bobby Nunn often created a comic, authoritative voice, which helped give their songs a unique, dramatic flair. Yakety Yak was one of the first songs to discuss typical teenage frustration with parental demands. The lyrics specifically mention chores like taking out the garbage and cleaning up the room, making the song instantly relatable to the massive 1950s youth audience. Round 8. The Great Pretender was the signature hit for which smooth doo-wop group? Was it A, the Platters, B, the Drifters, C, the Coasters, or D, the Flamingos? The answer is A, the Platters. Fun facts. The song's complex vocal arrangement was composed by the group's manager, Buck Ram, arranging nearly all of their biggest hits and successfully pushing them from the R&B charts to mainstream pop radio. They performed in matching tuxedos and elegant gowns, which helped set them apart from the wilder rockabilly acts and made their music palatable for more conservative audiences. The group faced legal troubles in the late 1950s that briefly halted their career momentum. This involved several members being arrested on drug and prostitution charges, leading to temporary cancellations of performances and radio airplay bans. Round 9. The tragic 1959 plane crash that killed Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper occurred when the pilot of the small plane was asked to fly despite what known adverse weather condition? Was it A, heavy rain, B, strong winds, C, blizzard conditions, or D, freezing drizzle? The answer is D, freezing drizzle. Fun facts. The weather conditions led to rapid accumulation of ice on the plane's control surfaces. The pilot was not certified to fly only by instruments in poor visibility. The musicians chartered the small plane due to issues with their tour bus. Round 10. Gene Vincent's hit Bebopalula was the first single released on what famous record label? Was it A, Sun Records, B, Capitol Records, C, Columbia Records, or D, Mercury Records? The answer is B, Capitol Records. Fun facts. Radio disc jockeys quickly realized the rock and roll energy of the B-side and began playing Bebopalula instead, forcing Capitol to change its promotion focus. Vincent was permanently injured in a motorcycle accident several months before his music career began. The accident left him with a severe leg injury, leading to the use of a leg brace and his famous black leather look, which influenced later artists like Jim Morrison and the Ramones. Gene Vincent claimed the title came from a comic book featuring a character named Bebopalula, though the exact comic has never been definitively identified. Round 11. Fats Domino's 1956 hit Blueberry Hill was a cover of a tune originally written in what decade? Was it A, 1920s, B, 1930s, C, 1940s, or D, 1950s? The answer is C, 1940s. Fun facts. The song was first a big hit for the band leader Glenn Miller in 1940. It was covered by several other artists, including Louis Armstrong, before Fats Domino recorded his iconic rock and roll version 16 years later. He had 5 albums that sold over 1 million copies each, a rarity for any artist in the 1950s, regardless of genre. The majority of his hit songs were co-written with his longtime producer and arranger, Dave Bartholomew. Bartholomew helped create the distinct New Orleans R&B sound that characterized Fats Domino's music, fusing boogie-woogie piano with strong rhythm section horns. Round 12. Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock achieved massive success after being featured in what 1955 film? Was it A, Rebel Without a Cause, B, Blackboard Jungle, C, The Wild One, or D, Jailhouse Rock? The answer is B, Blackboard Jungle. Fun facts. This film was one of the first major Hollywood movies to use rock and roll music. Bill Haley first recorded the song in 1954, but it was initially a flop when released as a single. The success of the film Blackboard Jungle was crucial. It caused the record company to re-release the single, which then shot to #1 internationally. Haley's band, the Comets, were named after Haley's Comet. The band's manager, James Myers, came up with the idea, inspired by the upcoming scheduled appearance of the famous Comet. Round 13. Jerry Lee Lewis was nicknamed The Killer in his youth, long before his stage career, following an aggressive incident involving a teacher and what common clothing item? Was it A, belt, B, jacket, C, hat, or D, necktie? The answer is D, necktie. Fun facts. Lewis earned the nickname in his youth after trying to choke a teacher with the man's own necktie. His career was temporarily derailed in 1958 due to a controversial marriage revelation. The controversy arose when it was revealed that he had married his 13-year-old cousin, Myra Gale Brown, leading to massive public backlash and the cancellation of his European tour. At a famous 1958 concert, Lewis closed his set by setting his piano on fire. Round 14. Which female rockabilly artist was nicknamed the Queen of Rockabilly? Was it A, Janice Martin, B, Brenda Lee, C, Wanda Jackson, or D, Connie Francis? The answer is C, Wanda Jackson. Fun facts. Wanda Jackson briefly dated Elvis Presley early in her career. It was Elvis himself who encouraged Jackson to switch from her established career in country music to the new emerging sound of rock and roll. She was the first woman to record a rock and roll song for a major record label. The song was I Gotta Know, released in 1956 on Capitol Records, solidifying her pioneering role in the genre. Jackson continued to tour and record well into her 80s, releasing albums produced by and featuring collaborations with rock royalty like Jack White and Joan Jett, proving her enduring influence across generations. Round 15. Tragically killed in the Day the Music Died crash, Ritchie Valens scored a major hit with La Bamba, which was a pioneering rock and roll version of a traditional folk song originating in what country? Was it A, Spain, B, Cuba, C, Mexico, or D, Puerto Rico? The answer is C, Mexico. Fun facts. Valens recorded the song entirely in Spanish, making it one of the first Spanish-language rock hits in the United States. Valens was initially very hesitant to record the song due to his limited ability to speak Spanish. The 1987 biographical film about Valens was the first movie ever to feature the use of a Dolby Stereo digital soundtrack. Round 16. The Everly Brothers broke up mid-concert in 1973 after one brother did what shocking action on stage? Was it A, smashed his guitar, B, walked off stage mid-song, C, threw a drum set, or D, shoved the other brother? The answer is A, smashed his guitar. Fun facts. Phil smashed his guitar and walked off, leaving Don to announce their permanent breakup to the audience. The infamous concert took place at the Knott's Berry Farm theme park. Don later said it was the only time he had ever been drunk on stage. They finally reunited in 1983 for a benefit concert and recorded the comeback single On the Wings of a Nightingale, written by Paul McCartney. Before their rock career, they starred with their parents on their own radio show, The Everly Family Show. Round 17. Eddie Cochran's iconic 1958 hit Summertime Blues is one of the only early rock songs to focus primarily on what specific political issue that deeply affected American teenagers. Was it A, racial integration, B, minimum wage, C, draft deferments, or D, school dress codes? The answer is C, draft deferments. Fun facts. The song's lyrics protest a congressman who refuses to give the teenager a work deferment from the draft. Cochran was a technical innovator who was one of the first rock artists to use multi-track recording in his home studio. Cochran died in a tragic car accident in England in 1960 while on tour with Gene Vincent. Gene Vincent was also in the car and was injured, and the driver of the car, who survived, was later charged with dangerous driving. Round 18. The controversial 1964 death of Sam Cooke was ruled justifiable homicide. He was fatally shot by the motel manager, Bertha Franklin, who claimed Cooke was attempting to attack her with what common item? Was it A, a broken bottle, B, a tire iron, C, a burning towel, or D, a shoe? The answer is D, The Steve Allen Show. Fun facts. Franklin testified that an enraged Cook, who believed his missing girlfriend was in her office, was attacking her with his fists and one of his shoes. Cook was shot with a .22 caliber pistol. The official ruling of self-defense has been questioned by fans and biographers for decades due to conflicting accounts. Cook was allegedly chasing the manager for his stolen clothes, money, and car keys. His valuables had been stolen by the woman he had brought back to his room, leading to his frantic state. Cook became a pioneer of the self-managed, independent Black artist in the music industry. Round 19. Chubby Checker's signature song, The Twist, kicked off a global dance craze and became one of the biggest hits of the era. However, it was a B-side cover of a song first recorded by what rhythm and blues artist? Was it A, Little Richard, B, Hank Ballard, C, Fats Domino, or D, Bo Diddley? The answer is B, Hank Ballard. Fun facts. Hank Ballard and the Midnighters first released The Twist in 1959 as the B-side to Teardrops on Your Letter. Checker recorded his cover version because Dick Clark needed a familiar song for a singer to mime on American Bandstand. The Twist is the only song of the rock era to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 twice in 2 separate years. After its initial 1960 success, the song resurfaced in 1961 due to its popularity in high society clubs, making it a unique cultural phenomenon. Round 20. The payola scandal severely damaged rock and roll's credibility and ended the career of famous DJ Alan Freed, the man who popularized the term rock and roll, after he was accused of receiving what from record companies? Was it A, free cars, B, illegal drugs, C, cash for airplay, or D, stock options? The answer is C, cash for airplay. Fun facts. Freed was accused of receiving nearly $50,000 in gifts and cash, which led to his firing and a subsequent federal indictment. The investigations were driven in part by traditional industry figures seeking to undermine rock and roll's dominance. The scandal targeted rock and roll DJs like Freed, while country and pop DJs who also accepted gifts were largely ignored, suggesting a cultural agenda. Alan Freed died shortly after the scandal, reportedly heartbroken over his public fall from grace and financial ruin. Stripped of his career, he was eventually convicted of 2 counts of commercial bribery and died in 1965 at the age of 43. We have one final lightning-fast bonus question for the 50s rock and roll category. In 1956, Chuck Berry scored his first and biggest U.S. hit with a song that hit #5 on the Billboard charts. What was that groundbreaking song? Was it A, Roll Over Beethoven, B, Johnny Be Good, C, Maybelline, or D, Sweet Little 16? The answer is C, Maybelline. That's a wrap on the birth of rock. We just uncovered some killer facts and controversial truths about the genre that changed music forever. From the early electric guitars to the rise of Sun Records, you crushed those challenges. Hail, hail, rock and roll! But the road race doesn't end here. We're already setting up the next challenge for you. Will you be testing your knowledge on high-stakes courtroom dramas? Or maybe tackling the wild world of competitive video games? You won't know unless you stay locked in. Don't go anywhere. The next challenge is right around the corner. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next track.